Well, hello there. Once again, Shabbat Shalom to you, one and all. We are grateful that you've come to join us on this beautiful Shabbat. It's a nice sunny day here. We are now officially in summer, and as of Wednesday, which is the first day of the fourth month, as the seasonal marker, the day prior, and we are now officially summer. And some of us look forward to it and enjoy it. Some of us dread it to a certain degree, but regardless of how we feel about it, it's here. Salud. This is June 25th. Yes, this is the last Shabbat of the month of June. Next time we'll be talking Jelly, or the month named after our friend Julius Caesar. Not okay. But it's day 4 of the 4th Chodesh, the head of the summer. And this is the third Sabbath, or the 21st day, concluding of our count up to the Bikurim of the new wine, the first fruit of the new wine. And so we're very excited today, and you'll notice our running time is considerably shorter than generally if you're not catching us live, because this is going to be the 9th time we're doing our Unity Shabbat broadcast. So we're just going to do a basic introduction and to remind you that we're here every Sabbath. And like I said, we start at 11 a.m., and it's 11:02 right now. And at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be joining the Your Arms to Israel, Yati, Your Arms to Israel. And so there's 5 congregations that are united. And for the longest time, we've been praying about unity. And there are some who are doing something about that, and some who are just bemoaning the fact that we're not being united. Well, we have 5 groups that are basically in unity of the basics. You know, if we're waiting for unity to take place, we're 100% in agreement of everything. When we can't even agree of what to have for breakfast, or, you know, what time to go to bed, you know, the main essentials we hold dearly and in common. So that's what we believe is unity. Some of us want unfairly everyone to behave like me, everyone to listen to me, and whereas I might actually feel that, no, you know, we strive for unity. We strive for the desire to function as the body of Messiah here on this. Sometimes we think it's a forsaken planet. It's not. Yah is watching over us. He's watching over us, and he dearly loves us. And so here we are. We find ourselves in various situations and predicaments, but we cry out to Yah. We cry out to Yah in our needs. We make supplication. And but for us to do that, we have to be clean vessels. You know, it's just like some people equate prayer to a telephone call. You know, we just pick up a phone and dial. We have to prepare ourselves. We're doing the model prayer teaching on Wednesday evenings at 7:30 on their midweek midrash, our study together. It's like an hour long. We try to keep it concise and to the point. And we're looking at the model prayer. We're looking at prayer in general and what it is. We have to make sure that we're prepared to enter into the place where we're normally not allowed to go. Of the world has no way to get in, because Messiah is the door. And unless we accept Messiah and on his terms, we cannot gain entry. We cannot gain entry. We might knock at the door like the foolish virgins who were supposed to get married that day and were locked out because they didn't take enough oil in their lamps. The 5 wise did. The 5 wise were wives. Wise wives. And so once that door is locked, it's locked. You know, there will be outer darkness, weeping and gnashing of teeth. And I'll be talking about that later on in this Unity message. I'll be one of the speakers. So extra incentive to tune in later. And we will be extolling the virtues of Yah, his standards, that they become our standards. They're not some foreign extraterrestrial directives that we just look and say, oh, wow, I don't know how we do that. And in a few minutes, we're going to do the 10 words. And when we do the 10 commandments, as I read them, I want you to think hard as I recite them, which one is just too difficult? Oh, nobody can keep the commandments. Nobody can keep the law. What kind of loving father would give his child a task that was beyond him to do? Shabbat Shalom, William. What kind of father would that be? Especially since we're told that he's a loving father. Okay, what loving father is going to tell his kid, to dive to the bottom of the Marianas Trench in the bottom of the ocean, the deepest depths of this world that we know of so far. And the pressure would kill us, the depths would kill us. We're not made for the Marianas Trench unless we go in a submersible of some kind, right? So he's not going to tell us to do that. He's not going to tell us to climb, Mount Everest in our underwear, right? He's not going to tell us to do these things. They're beyond us. He's not going to tell us to open the window and take a flight around the neighborhood. He's not going to do these things. He's going to give us things that he will enable us to do, that we are going to want to do. He doesn't want anyone dragging their feet. He doesn't want anyone reluctantly, okay. He wants us to be lovers of Yah, and to love him is to love his word. To love his word is to love that which he speaks to us, and he gives to us. He gives to us all that is good, all that is tov, good. And again, as we do from week to week, we talk of Shabbat because it is Shabbat. This is the day Yah has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We're in the midst of it. It is a day of restoration, a day in which we are to stop what we're doing. We come to a grinding halt, whether we're grinding grain in the mill, whether we're on the verge of going shopping with a long shopping list, whatever we're going to do, because we don't want anyone else to be working either. It's a day that we don't work. We stop. Some people think, well, let me go shopping. Let me go here. Let me go there. We're causing others to work. And this commandment was made for mankind. Shabbat was made for man, not man for mankind. We don't have to look at the commandment and seeing that we exist to keep this commandment. Another commandment exists to keep us, to shomar, to watch over us, that we guard the Shabbat. That's why I say that every week. Remember to guard the Shabbat day as kadosh, as holy, as set apart, as distinct, because that's who we are to be. The word set apart and distinct is kadosh, which is holy. You must be holy because I am holy. To enter into a covenant, we have to be on equal footing. Equal footing. That's why the 10 Commandments was given to us on 2 tablets, which are not 1 to 5 and 6 to 10. They are 1 to 10, 1 to 10. A duplicate copy. One for Yah, one for us. Any insurance company, anything along those lines which involve a contract, we have a copy and they have a copy. So we can always look in the fine print. Oh, no, it doesn't say that here. No, it does. Just look a little closer. So Yah is giving us his Torah, which some people look at the law. Whoa. The people who cringe at the word law are what we call criminals and outlaws, fugitives from justice, right? Oh, I have to keep the law? What do you mean you have to keep the law? As a citizen, you keep the Torah, you keep the law. Law means instruction. Law is the defining characteristics of who we are. It's a mirror that we look in and see ourselves. And we walk away from that and we forget what we look like. But the Torah is within. It's penetrating our hearts and our minds to walk even as Messiah, the living embodiment of Torah, to walk as he walked. Well, are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. Perfect without any spot or blemish. Well, we have to live with that mindset. Whether we achieve that day in and day out is another thing. But we have to aspire to be pure before Yah. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of that later on at our unity meeting. But as the book of Exodus, Shemot, the names of, Shem is the word for name. Shemot is plural names. And so the chapter 20, which is the giving of the Torah, which I'm going to read from in a minute. Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So the one day of the week in which Yah blesses and he hallows, he makes it kadosh, he makes it set apart and distinct. The previous 6 days were all about work and creating. The 7th day was to stop, to pause, and acknowledge what Yah has done. And he set the standard for us. He wasn't tired. He wasn't exhausted. He didn't need a vacation, paid or otherwise. And he set the standard of restoration, that we stand back and give him this day, the one day that's mandated in the scriptures to meet. It's referred to as a Mikra Kodesh, which is a sacred assembly, a day which is Kadosh, a day which is beautiful. And we should have no conflict of interests, which is why we're going to read in the book of Isaiah in a minute, that there's no conflict of interest. He demands our attention. So we try to multitask. We try to listen with one ear here. We got this going. We got this going. We got our gadget on. No. Shut it all down. It's his day. And he invites us to participate in this day as we hear the word. It's the day of the teaching of the word. Oh, they got beautiful worship. Oh, they got beautiful stage. The building is beautiful. The lights that they do is all beautiful. Yeah, what about the word? Is the word being delivered? Yeah, well, he preached about how wonderful we all are. Well, are you truly hearing the word? Are you truly being instructed? Iron sharpening iron. Are we benefiting from our time? I looked at the description of this program. It says entertainment. I said, I'm here to entertain you. Apparently, but it is for us to learn, and we must always have the idea of learning and growing as individuals, as a people, singularly and individually, as well as collectively, and as a community. We've got to work together. People are freaking out these days about the Supreme Court this, the Supreme Court that, and completely missing the point of what's happened this week. Completely missing the point, misinterpreting everything about it. So he is blessed this day. He is blessed this day. And Mashiach referred to himself as being Adon, the Lord, the master of the Sabbath. And he is. And we look at the book of Shemot further in chapter 31:13, which I read every week, 3113, and a beautiful palindrome going backwards and forwards. Okay, 3113. And this is where and this is where we also remind you that we would prefer to refer to Hebrew terminology like Mashiach Yeshua instead of Christ Jesus, but Yeshua, the name that means salvation. He was named Yeshua because he would save his people. Some pronounce Yahusha or Yeshua, both perfectly good. And Mashiach is the anointed one. And the Yud-He Vav-He, which is the tetragrammaton, the four letters that describe the sacred name of Yah. Yah, we know for sure. Half of the Yud-He is Yah. And very often we see that spelled out for us, even with the vowel points. But Yud-He Vav-He, we don't really have a pronunciation for most people. And we know that the ancient Hebrew, the Vav, which has a V sound, had a W sound back then. So it's Yahuwah. We believe is probably the closest pronunciation. Yehudah, with a Dalet in there, is Judah. Okay, and it's the tribe by which Mashiach would come. It's the tribe by which there's the southern kingdom where the temple was, and so on and so forth. Yehudah. So we remove the door. The door opens. That's what the Dalet means. It's a door. Open the door, and we have Yahuwah. And so anyway, so that's what we're doing here. And we refer to Torah, which is not just law, it's instruction. And anyone who says, I don't need any further instruction, you're the same guy who buys a bookshelf from IKEA and tosses the instructions away. I got this figured out. In the pride of man, we tend not to lean too much on instructions, but there you have it. We better look at the instructions. And Yah speaks to Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses our teacher, and speak to the Bnei Israel, which is the children of Israel, male and female, old and young, everyone. Speak to the Bnei Israel. Say to them, above all, top priority, number one, my Sabbaths you shall keep. My Shabbatot you must shoma, you must observe, you must guard, you must observe, watch over. Anything that's precious to you, you watch over. And Yah teaches us through Yeshua that moth and rust will corrupt the things that we kind of put aside. but the word of Yah stands forever. The grass will wither, the flowers will fade, but the word of Yah lasts forever. Okay, so we guard the word and protect the word. It's the most valuable thing we'll ever lay our eyes upon and our heart upon. Above all, top priority, my Shabbatot, my Sabbaths, plural, you shall shamar. You shall observe, you shall keep, you shall guard. And Sabbaths, plural, because there are 52 weekly Sabbaths on the seventh day. And then there are at least, according to Leviticus 23, when you read that whole list of what's called the Moadim, the appointed times of Yah, there are at least 7 additional Shabbatot, Sabbaths. You shall keep. Above all, top priority, you shall keep. What do we do with this for those who are New Covenant believers who don't realize the New Covenant is renewed based in principle and substance of the quote-unquote old? It's the same Yah, same yesterday, today, and forever. He does not change. He requires the same faithfulness, the same obedience. Nothing's changed there. In fact, when we describe the Brit Chadashah, the New Covenant, Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah 31:31 tells us, and that whole section there about the Brit Chadashah, the New Covenant, says it is, part of that is that his Torah will be written on our hearts and our minds. Okay, it's that Torah, it's the Torah principles. So above all, my Shabbatot you shall shomar, you shall keep. For it, the concept of Shabbat, the idea of stopping and completely shutting down and allow Yah to teach you. For it is a sign, it is an ot, it is a covenant indication that both parties are on the same page, as I said earlier. It is an ot between me and you. How long? Throughout all your generations. Okay. And why do we do it? That you may know that I am Yahuwah who sanctifies you. By keeping the Shabbat, we are keeping a covenant sign, and we know that it is Yah who makes us kadosh. It's not something that we do on our own or of ourselves. It doesn't emanate from us. It reflects from him, and we are partakers of a Berit Olam, an everlasting covenant, if indeed we are. And I believe anyone who would be checking us out and looking at this mug from time to time has got to be committed. This is part of your torture. Okay, we shift quickly to the book of Isaiah, Yeshayahu, chapter 58, verse 13 and 14. You got to mark this down in your scriptures. Well, what about the Sabbath? What are you supposed to do? It says, if you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, in other words, our foot, our walk, Sabbath comes along, wait a minute, we don't engage it as we would any other day. Why is that? If you turn away your foot from the Shabbat, from doing your pleasure on my Kadosh day, my holy day, and if we call the Shabbat a delight, okay, and then the parallelism, if we call the holy day of Yah honorable, okay, got my attention, and shall honor him. If we call Shabbat honorable, naturally we honor him, the giver of the gift. Okay, the giver, Notein ha-Shabbat, the giver of the Sabbath. And how do we do that? Not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasures, nor speaking your own words. It's not a day to go foraging in the world for entertainment, or foraging for wisdom, foraging for instruction. We are here before Yah with eager ears, okay? Nor speaking your own words. And if we do that, then you shall delight yourself in Yahuwah. Then, again, that's the instructions, okay? If we call Shabbat honorable, we honor him. How do we do that? By not doing your own ways, finding your own pleasures, speaking your own words. Then you shall delight yourself in Yah. So anyone who's anti-law, anti-Torah, who says they delight themselves in Yah, are misgiven. They're under misapprehension. Okay? Then you shall delight yourself in Yah. And as a result of that, I will cause you to ride on the high hills of the earth. In other words, you shall be like me. I'm in the heights. Shemayim, up in the heavens. The heavens touch the earth in the tops of those mountains where the clouds descend and the heavens and the earth merge. And your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Okay? You shall ride. He will cause us to ride on the high hills of the earth. And he will feed us with the rich heritage of Yaakov, your father. And Yaakov is Yisrael, your father. What is that rich heritage? Just like the manna, the man is Messiah. Our fathers ate the manna in the wilderness and are dead. But if we eat of Messiah, eat what he prepared for us, we have eternal life. Eternal life. And many debate about the unpardonable sin. What is it? Have we done it? Blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, it's rejecting Messiah. There's no forgiveness. So it's unpardonable. If we reject Messiah, it's unpardonable. Yeshua is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. The way, the truth, and the life. You want life? As Messiah says, keep the commandments. And as Yochanan reminds us, commandments are not too difficult for us. They're not a burden to us because we've overcome the world and by our faith, by our trust, our faithful obedience to Yah. Okay? The rich heritage of Yaakov. And then he concludes by saying, the mouth of Yahuwah has spoken. And he hits the gavel down as the great Shofet HaGadol, the great judge, letting us know that there's no wiggle room in the things of Yah. We either do or don't do. We don't think about it and consider it. If we are of him, if we've been pursuing him for years and seek to desire to serve him. So, as I said already, we're going to be joining the broadcast later on at 1 p.m. as we all come together. 5 congregations represented here, which is beautiful and growing. So the fact that they have me speaking and consider me worth listening to is an honor and a privilege. And I thank that community that considers me worth listening to. So I thank Yah for that. We don't seek the praise of men, but if good, just individuals look to us not to be their deity or their heavenly Father, but to respect, we are to respect each other. We are to come to know each other. And again, if it's not the case, then we come out from among them. We don't allow any foolishness to come in and permeate our ears and force its way into our lives. We don't do that, or we shouldn't. How's that? Okay, we go to the book of Shemot, back to Exodus chapter 20. I'm going to read the first 17 verses as we do each week in our Shabbat observance and keep it. And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage, Beit Avadim, the house of suffering. You shall have no other Elohim before me. Okay? And again, take note which ones are the ones that you're struggling with, okay? Number 1 is acknowledging that Yah has taken us out of bondage, has removed us from the Egypt of this world, has brought us to his Son, and the Son has led us to the Father. You shall have no other Elohim before me. Next, you shall not make for yourselves a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. Okay, so far so good. I don't think I'm going to have to struggle with too much with any of those. You shall not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, your Elohim, I'm a jealous Elohim. Okay, a godly jealousy. He doesn't share his glory with anyone. Okay, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands and to those who love me and keep my commandments. Loving him and keeping his commandments are synonymous, as it says in Yochanan Aleph chapter 5. This is love for Yah, that we keep his commandments. And again, his commandments are not burdensome. Okay? So those people who are whining, saying, oh, keeping the commandments, keeping the law. Again, if you're not keeping the law, you're a fugitive from justice. You're under the law. You are under the jurisprudence of that there will be punitive actions taken against you. Okay? You shall not take the name of Yahuwah in vain or in vanity, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless who takes his name as vanity, who seek to eradicate the name, who seek to diminish its importance, to bring it to nothing, or to misrepresent it. And yes, of course, most people, well, you don't say GD. Well, that's an obvious one. If you're in covenant with Yah, you're not going to use his name as a curse word or a byword. So far, so good. Are you keeping up with the list? Any problems so far that you just are bursting to do because you can't keep the commandments and pat yourself on the back because you failed? Okay, the ways of this world have rubbed off on the community of faith, where we congratulate ourselves when we fall short, when we fail, when we sin. We just shrug our shoulders and say, well, that's life. I don't know about that. Next one is remember the Shabbat day to keep it kadosh, set apart. 6 days you may labor and do all your work. You may. You can work 5 days, 6 days, whatever. But the 7th day is the Shabbat of Yahuwah, your Elohim. Okay, it's a Shabbaton. You stop what you're doing and rest. And stop foolishness. In it you shall do no work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant. And that includes people who serve you. Well, I'm going to go get some coffee. I got to totally get some coffee. I got to get a dinner with a coffee. But it's the Sabbath. Yeah, well, they're serving you that. Says your servants should not be working today either. So you should not be causing them to sin. You just don't do that. You know, in the days in the wilderness, they kept in their tents, present tense, not past tense. And they weren't two tense if they were doing right. Okay. Nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gate. So you don't tell the animals to go out and do any work, nor the stranger, the ger hagor, the stranger who is within your gates. In other words, he's not just somebody passing by. He's not some quote unquote pagan. He's not a native in your land, but he's in your gates. Proselytes at the gates were the Gentiles who attended the synagogue in the days of Shaul and the Shlachim, the apostles. And many of them were those of Israel who had been sifted through the nations, and they're coming back. They're being called back into obedience and into their right relationship with Yah. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. And he rested. He ceased from his completed works. And he rested the 7th day. Therefore, he set an example for us. Therefore, Yahuwah blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it, as I said earlier. He blessed it, and he made it kadosh, set apart and distinct. It's not just any other day. And you misinterpret what Paul says. Some people consider one day above another. It's talking about the days of the week. The rabbis would fast compulsively on certain days of the week. Oh, it's Tuesday, it's our fast day. For us, it's usually Thursday. But that's not the commandment, right? Shaul often said, "This is me. This isn't the word. This isn't Yah telling me. This is my opinion on this matter." So some people honor certain days above other days. It's Monday, or within the pagan mindset, Monday is the day of the moon. Sunday is the day of the sun. Saturday is the day of Saturn, a symbol of the adversary, and so on and so forth. So some people look at, what's it, Taco Tuesday? So I esteem certain days above others. I want my tacos, nothing wrong with that. Some people, consider, but Shabbat is not on the table. Shabbat is not a bargaining chip. Shabbat is a given. It's not one of the days that we can either esteem or not esteem. It's talking about in our everyday work. Some people might be plowing the fields, and maybe on a Thursday they might not be plowing their fields. They might be doing something else. So that Thursday comes, oh, I got to do this, not this. So I esteem it different from another day. But Shabbat is distinct. It's not part of the give or take. It is we receive and are blessed. We enter into covenant as a great covenant sign, a Brit Olam, a covenant eternal. Okay? Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. Okay, any problems so far? And again, this is a covenanted people that are reading these commandments. Now, what about if your father's an abusive alcoholic that beats your mother, or that she's out doing some nefarious duties or such? Okay, well, we're talking about covenanted people, but still we need to have some responsibility to our parents. And again, we're talking also about Abraham and Sarah. Isaiah 51 talks about that they are our parents also. Okay, so far so good. Let me know. Let me know in the chat if you're struggling, if you're hyperventilating, because one of the I just can't prevent myself from shaping an idol and putting it on a top shelf and worshiping it. I can't control myself. Well, hold on. You shall not murder. Okay. You shall not commit adultery. Okay. See, Messiah even gave us instruction concerning these two things. He says, don't hate your brother without cause. Don't lust after this, because it starts the wheels turning. And if we nip it at the inception point, we don't go along the road where we fulfill and where we actually sin. If it's in your head, you haven't sinned. Transgression is action. So you got to just clean your mind. Okay. You shall not steal. Okay. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Don't lie. Why you got to lie? Why do you have to exaggerate? Why can't you just be true? Well, that's my truth. Well, my truth is X, Y, and Z. Well, either your truth is our truth or there is no truth. Okay? That's we hear so many people saying, well, I'm living my truth. What does your truth have to do that veers off the course of biological reality, spiritual reality, and the Torah of Yah? Okay? Don't bear false witness against your neighbor. Okay? You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that belongs to your neighbor. Okay? Leave your neighbor alone. Stop eyeballing his stuff. Stop saying, let me borrow that for a while and just never give it back. So, okay. That's the test. Of those 10, which one are you having trouble with, little babushka? Which one's really tugging at your heartstrings that you just having a hard time keeping it? It's just too much for me. That's it. That's the commandments. Oh, we can't keep. It's impossible. Nobody keeps the law. Nobody can keep the law. Where do you get that from? Where do you get that from? If you're referring to something that was said in Acts 15, he was talking about all the traditions of man. The group that were formerly Pharisees, who believed that you needed to be circumcised in the flesh in order to be saved, were saying these things are tough to keep. But Yochanan, the faithful and beloved Talmid, John, says keeping his commandments is the way that we show that we love him. And if you're a parent, it is a parent that when your children do what you ask them to do, whoa, wow, you made up your room. You went right, you had a little snack and then went and did your homework. I didn't have to tell you 15 times. You're coming out of the bed. Oh, you brushed your teeth. Oh, wow, wonderful. We gain pleasure rather than hearing, oh, I don't have to brush my teeth. I brushed my teeth last Tuesday. Why do you got to bother me? Why do you hate me so much, Mommy? You do right. You give Yah simcha. You give him joy. Do we have to be threatened to do right? Because Yah has the carrot. He also has the stick. Because we are stubborn mules. And sometimes we need the stick rather than the carrot. Anyway, so you work on that between now and 1 o'clock, okay? So, again, we thank you for tuning in to be with us for this short time today. And again, at 1 o'clock, at Your Arms to Israel, Your Arms to Israel, at 1 o'clock on their YouTube channel, we're going to be joining 5 different congregations. We're doing this once a season. This is our summer unity. Next will be in the autumn during the Moedim. So be blessed, be encouraged, because you are loved by the community. You are loved by Yah, first and foremost, but that we work together with love. We teach the truth with love. Everything functions through love. You love me and keep my commandments. And that's wonderful, that we will be faithful and obedient to him. So we're going to say Shabbat Shalom, and with ... to be continued in our Unity service. This is the preview. And at 1 p.m., we will be together with that. So again, until next Shabbat, we will be back on this channel with our Sabbath service at 11 a.m. And before then, we will have our midweek midrash on Wednesdays at 7:30 to 8:30. And we're tackling the model prayer. So for now, we say Shabbat Shalom. Be well, be strong, be encouraged, be loved, and give love. Okay? Be loving, because not all of us are so lovable. But when we give love, we can work around that and we can become lovable. Even this kind of punim here. So again, we thank you so much for joining us for however brief time, and that we said some words that might have stimulated to think a little bit. But for now, we say Shabbat Shalom, and join us later at 1 p.m., okay? Your arms to Israel. And for now, we say Shabbat Shalom. Amen. Okay.